I didn't have an easy experience. And you know what the greatest honor I've ever received as a player is? In my 4th year and my 5th year, I was named team captain.
Just before Frizzell got him, and a leaping interception by Woodson, who got a foot down somehow inbounds.
Thomas, touchdown, Wolverine.
Nice call.
Here's a look at Boston and Woodson on the outside. They're just standing there, now they're fighting.
One man. Goodbye. Hello, Heisman.
Plant their flag in the middle of the Ohio State field, and the Buckeyes rushed right.
Play fake. McCarthy scanning downfield and throws it high, and Wilson's got it. Roman Wilson weaving down inside.
There it is. They won't pull that down. Dress, as they say in Ann Arbor, conquering heroes, victors valiant, Michigan national champion.
Good morning, Wolverine Nation, and we're back again for another Victory Sunday.
Yeah. Victory Sunday.
How are we doing this morning, Kyle?
Doing great. Yeah, I mean, we didn't win by 60 yesterday, but we still came away with a W, so that's all that matters.
All in all, a win's a win. Let's just put it that way.
That's it.
Wasn't the prettiest, but
may have some concerns, but a win's a win, like you said.
Yes, you can't go wrong when you win the game and you get to move on. And we're going into a bye with Wisconsin coming up. So,
And Wisconsin did not look good against the Terrapins yesterday. So that's a little bit of encouraging. You know, I think Buckeye Steve said it last week. He's like, now I got nothing to watch because he had no Buckeyes to watch this week. So now it's like, I'm just going to be watching the Buckeyes game next week to see what they do, or maybe watching Wisconsin just so that I know what the next opponent is. But hey, 2 wins in a row. We're 3-1. We're coming off a bye, or we're going into a bye. I think we're sitting pretty right now. But, you know, sports are what have you done for me lately, not what you did for me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot, exactly where we are right now. It's, if you actually think about it, it's where we both thought we would be at this point.
Yeah.
We both picked us to lose to Oklahoma and then win the other 3 games. Well, let's
check the stats here, Michael.
I had us at 2-2.
You
I had
did.
the score right.
You had the score like almost perfect. So I have Mike at 31-27, but he wanted Nebraska to win. This was
Not one.
Well, you selected. I had 27-10 Michigan. So I was probably score-wise the furthest off. And Buckeye Steve had 24-17. So I think we got to give him the temporary, I don't know, you're good at guessing scores and the winner trophy. We'll have to figure it out. We're definitely not going to name it Buckeye Steve Trophy, but no. He was the closest one. But your score was only 1 point off, but just in the wrong. But like it could have went either way.
Oh, definitely could have went either way. And the sad part is it could have easily too been a Michigan blowout.
It could have easily been one. Easily.
There was a lot of the same recurring problems seem to be coming up with the management of the timeouts and clock.
Yep.
And very undisciplined at times.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. I got some notes on Mr. Hillman, but I think I said to you, okay, our secondary is terrible.
Yeah.
And literally 6 minutes later, I have the times. It was 4:59. I texted you our secondary is terrible, and then 6 minutes later, the play right before halftime happened, the Hail Mary, which I still feel like my statement was correct because Guy, our defensive end, was the only one who was close to the ball. You know what gave me flashbacks of? Aaron Rodgers throwing it to Rodgers in the Detroit Green Bay game when Rodgers did the Hail Mary at the end of the game. Yeah. All of the defense, all of our secondary was behind a receiver. And if you put those two plays side by side, it's eerily similar. But it doesn't matter. You could almost count that as like kind of a gimmick play. Not a gimmick play, but like you eliminate one play and Michigan goes into halftime up a score instead of tied. But you eliminate one play here or there. You could say that for any game, right? So that's like loser talk in my opinion. Can we go back to like the beginning of the game, though? The beginning of the game. It was Nebraska's first drive, and they went for it on 4th and 2, and they handed it off. I wish I would have remembered the guy's name, but number 44, their fullback. And as he was falling, he reached the ball out. And to me, it looked like he got the first down. And they talked about it slightly.
Not a first down. It would have been a touchdown. I don't think he reached in for the one angle. It looked like it, but then when they showed it across the sideline, it didn't look like he got it.
Right, but to me, because we're always like, I'm that early in a close game or that early in a game. They're always close that early in a game. I was just like, oh, they're going to go down a score right here. But everything worked out for Michigan in that case. But it looked like it looked like he got the first down to me. But like you said, it all comes down to camera angles.
Touchdown, not first down, touchdown. He would have got the touchdown. Yes,
it was 4th and 2. He would have been like. No, that would have been on like the 3.
They had a couple opportunities, Nebraska, but when the defense had to, it made plays. But it wasn't. You can't give up that many yards.
Yeah, no. I saw a meme today with a really skinny guy flexing with a Michigan shirt on. It's like Michigan flexing after beating it. That's gone. 0-2, or with a head coach going 0-2, or is it Nebraska or Rule that's gone 0-27 against? I think he's got 2 wins at Temple against ranked teams.
Yeah, his record. He's 0-18 in his last 18 games.
Okay, yeah. But hey, we talked about this game being tough, especially for a true freshman, a interim head coach. Going in and into it is known for, being tough to play in as a visiting team.
Yeah, we kind of both said it right off the start, right? On the road, another hostile environment.
Yeah.
And you just go in, get the win, and get out, right?
That's exactly right.
Underwood wasn't asked to do too much. He made the one run that was a big play. Throwing wise, he wasn't asked to do a lot. Now, there was a couple passes that people should have caught. Like that one in the corner of the end zone where the wide receiver had his head turned the wrong way and it hit off his fingertips.
Yes. So that was, So, and the play just before that was a classic Michigan wide receiver toss, right? You can go back and they did that when Navarro was quarterback. They did that when Henny was quarterback. I'm sure if you go even further back, it's Elvis having that play. But Morgan's pass was terrible. Those are my notes, and it's just a classic Michigan play. When you have your best receiver diving forward 2 yards to try and make a catch. But you're also asking a wide receiver to make a throw on the run, which is hard for trained quarterbacks to do.
2 things were wrong on that play. The pass was terrible.
Yes.
And the receiver slipped.
Yeah. And it was Goodwin who
if he's standing there,
his fingertips.
If he's standing there, he makes the catch. But because he slipped, it was kind of
I think everyone was in the moment. Everyone was in the moment. Like, oh my God, we're actually doing this play. I honestly think if he catches it, he's wide open. But if he catches it, I think his knees are in the end zone, but I don't think the ball breaks the plane. But either way, that would be sweet to be on like the 6-inch yard line at that point. And then the very next play was the pass to Goodwin, which, everyone says if you can touch it, you should catch it. It was a well-placed ball. And that's the positive you can take out of that. And then that goes into the end of the then they get their first points, taking the lead, which they never relinquished. I do not believe at that point they went up 3-0.
Oh, we got a comment from Mr. Mike Brown. Yeah, they haven't beat a ranked team since 2016, he says. And Riolo is a knockoff of wannabe Mahomes.
That is very true. It is very true. And I had a few thoughts, because of how successful Mahomes has been over the last 8 years of professional football. I don't even like watching him play. I mean, yes, I do, because I'm a football fan. It's obviously fun to watch a generational talent do what he does. He's been to 5 Super Bowls and lost 2. I think he's never not been to an AFC championship game since he's become the starter. But watching a kid do an impression of him was making me even more mad, especially when he was successful. Like a few sidearm tosses, I was like, "Oh man!"
Listen, I used to really like Mahomes, and then something about him now, I just can't like.
Well,
him.
I feel like that's just the Tom Brady effect, and not to bring it back to Michigan, but this is a Michigan podcast. I always loved Tom Brady. My dad and I had season tickets during the Tom Brady years, before and after. I felt like when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl, I was like, he's mine. I knew about this guy before any of you. So I've always been a Brady fan. I'm a Michigan fan. But I just feel like Mahomes just is getting the hate because he's so successful, right? Like, what has he really said, or what has he really done to make anybody be mad at him? Not really. It's just his success, right? But watching someone attempt to be him and attempt to beat Michigan, that's what made me mad, because fan is short for fanatic, and I don't need to defend myself.
Very, very good points all the way around. It was a very I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
the game had a lot of ups and downs emotionally.
Very much so.
We went up 10, and I was like, "This is looking like a good first half. We can
like,
put
here we go.
We can get a stop and put up
27-10. I was like going through my thing. I'm like, 27-10 is what I said. Oh, we're on our way to it. But
I'm like, if we can put up another touchdown and keep them off the board, we're going to turn them one-dimensional.
Yeah.
The defensive line can pin their ears back. Not that they needed to, considering I think they had 7 sacks, which is
and even when the game got close, I was like, hey, our quarterback's playing his 4th collegiate football game. Raiola is cosplay in his 2nd season. So, I still feel if we would have came away with, if you would have gotten the score that not you wanted, but what you predicted, at least we could have taken away a positive from it, because it was kind of like a quarterback duel. And obviously it came down to offensive line play, which we can get into at any point in time, because Michigan's obviously outplayed Nebraska's. That might either be, how good Michigan's defense is or how bad Nebraska's is, but I don't think either is the case, right? I think Nebraska has played very well, and I think Michigan's defense played even better, but it did come down to offensive line play, as it usually does when you need to protect you always need to protect your quarterback. But when you have 2 dynamic quarterbacks playing in a game, it comes down to protection. And even a play where Raiola gets sacked and he just laid flat on the ground like he was broken. Like he was. Well, yeah,
there was.
I can't.
There was one play where they didn't really get to him, but it almost looked like he went down thinking that they were going to hit him, and he kind of just went down. I think it was in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I don't remember that play.
I had a bunch of people over, and everybody's kind of like, "Did he just fall down?"
Oh,
It was
nice
almost like
invite.
he anticipated he was going to get hit so hard that
Yeah.
he just went down, even though.
Well, he was probably learning from the past, so he was maybe just trying to protect the ball. Maybe he saw something that I don't think Raiola. We can talk smack about him all day long. We can be like, oh yeah, he's just trying to be Mahomes, and I'm guilty of it. I've already done it like 4 times in this 15-minute podcast that we've been on so far. But he's obviously a smart player. He's obviously a good player, and maybe he saw something coming a little quicker than he expected. And I do remember that he just kind of rolled down, but he did protect the ball. You know what I mean? Like, he did do all the right things. Maybe he just, as he's learning to become a better quarterback, he knows that like at this point in time, extending the play is not necessary right now in this point of the game. But I do. Sorry, go.
Any game you get 7 sacks is a good
brutal.
It's a good offense. I mean, defensive showing for the linebackers and the defensive line, right?
Before we move into the second half stuff, I had the call for Nebraska where the neutral zone infraction where they ended up calling it a false start. That was straight up the football gods giving Michigan a favor. Or that was a straight up neutral zone infraction. I don't see how, if you come across into the neutral zone, but then the offensive lineman moves in a different direction because of where his eyes are. It blew my mind. But yet again, that play and the end of the first drive for Nebraska, where their fullback reached out for the first down, I feel like Michigan was getting the calls at that point, especially in the first half.
How about the touching, where the guy
illegal touching? It happened a few times.
The guy happens to step on the line in the end zone.
Well, hey,
open.
And it happened twice to Nebraska as well, because Raiola threw the ball. I forget if it was Guy or if it I think it was Guy. So Raiola's releasing the ball. Guy's hand it was like a basketball play. He didn't hit the ball. It's not a foul. So it actually is a forward pass. And their offensive lineman did the exact thing you need to do. He saw the ball. He caught the ball. He fell to the ground. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. But it was, you can't throw to an offensive lineman. So they had 2 illegal touchings in that game. And thank God that guy stepped out of the end zone, because he just didn't cut quick enough. But
that would have changed. That would have changed the whole game.
There was so many opportunities in this game.
I'm not gonna lie,
not to go Michigan's way.
When he caught that and I didn't see a flag at first. I was like,
"Here we go."
But
the
then,
Three Musketeers. We're right here together.
But then all of a sudden, I was like, "Okay, we're good." And this face went away.
There he is. Oh yeah, for sure. There, and that's what made this game wild. There was so many plays that could go either way. There were so many plays that could have changed the momentum of the game, because I feel both teams had momentum at moments. Both teams had great quarterback play too, and not so great.
Because if you look at it too, seven sacks, 9 tackles for loss. And the sack yards minus 49 for Nebraska. That's huge.
Yeah. I have it right here. With 9 minutes left in the half, Raiola looked defeated. And then it was only 10-3. So, I think that showed his growth as a quarterback. I know we're talking a lot about Raiola at the moment, but I think he was to this game expecting to win, and his offensive line, I think that was the biggest. I got judgments for Michigan for days in my notes. Judgments, secondary play.
I think Mike said it the best here too. Save the CT.
Yeah.
To fight another day. That's pretty good.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, that's a smart play by him. because we can talk about Bryce fumbling the football because that happened. He had a fumble for loss, and he was trying to make something happen. And maybe that's just something where Raiola, I always want to keep calling him Dominic because, if they would have brought up Matt Stafford one more time in that game too, I would have lost my shit. I'm surprised they didn't bring up that Clayton Kershaw and Matt Stafford played when they were kids together.
And they're best friends.
Oh, did you know that? Did you know that? I didn't know that, man. Oh my God, what a mind-blowing thing. That two professional.
You know what though? That's something that the national people don't understand because they're not in the Detroit metro area. And
I was just thinking too, because Kershaw just had his last game at Dodger Stadium. And they were calling him Staff. He's like, "Oh, I grew up with Staff. That's all I used to call him." I was like, "They're bringing up Kershaw, and I'm turning off the volume."
And Stafford was there too. That was the best part. They must have showed him 30 times.
Oh, was Kelly there?
I didn't see Kelly.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, so let's go.
There's my controversial statement of the of the game. But let's get back into it. I think what we haven't talked about yet and what needs to be talked about, and the MVP of the game for me is Justice Haynes. He was a stud. It wasn't just the 75-yard run. He reminded me of the Don, that 75-yard run. He just took off. The guy was a beast. And let's not forget, but this is what happens. And I always said it as a Lions fan too. You draft players who are recruited. Nick Saban. We got to transfer from someone who was recruited by Nick Saban. It's like this guy, he reminded me so much of not of Henry, of Ingram. Just like always, he's just a possession king. He doesn't make I'm sure he will now that I'm going to say this, and I'm sure he does make mistakes. It just doesn't seem that he does. He rumbles downhill, and when he takes off, he takes off. It is amazing to watch. I can't believe we have him. It makes me so happy. It pumps me up so much that we have him in our backfield as our number one, as RB1.
Oh yeah, he was that. You know what that was? That was Michigan vintage 2023. You're not passing the ball, and we're gonna keep hammering you, and it was Bryce Underwood's big run, his big run,
three-headed monster,
Marshall's big run, like it was just one after another.
And this all comes down everything we're talking about. Go for it.
Think about this. Michigan scored 30 points with one trip in the red zone.
Yeah. I didn't see that stat, but that all makes sense. It all clicked together when you said that. Yeah.
I don't know if that should be troubling or if that's a testament to just their home run ability.
You could argue that, or you could say like lesser opponent. But like I said last week, I didn't even like calling Central a lesser opponent, and then Nebraska was definitely not a lesser opponent. Came down to 124 before we were in the victory formation. And it all came down to a few plays.
The one run that really impressed me was actually by Marshall to ice the game, where he cuts outside, and instead of going out of bounds or instead of continuing to run, he just slides.
Smart play.
That was a big boy play. That's somebody who understood them. Yeah, that's somebody who understood the moment.
Yep.
And that's a redshirt freshman, I believe. So he's only in his second year, but knew the moment, knew where he had to get. The minute he got there, down, game over, victory formation. Let's get out of Lincoln.
Yeah, let's go home. Let's get out of here.
Outstanding play. Outstanding play by the young man.
I guess touched on Justice Haynes, we can talk about Underwood. The fumble was not the best, but at the same time, he didn't do anything he didn't make any other big mistakes again throughout the game. Like, he had some overthrows. He
had some balls. For me, Underwood was average yesterday. I hate to say that because he did have that nice run.
Yeah.
he made the one mistake, and I think is a good mistake to make for him, that he has to learn how to hold on to the ball better.
Yep, 100%.
But he didn't make any mistakes when it came to giving the game back to Nebraska, besides the fumble. When it got late, he didn't overthrow. He didn't make the wrong decision. He didn't force stuff.
Yep.
And I was happy to see that.
Hey, and even on the Goodwin pass into the corner where it went off his fingertips after the rope-a-dope play.
That's Goodwin's fault.
But he Underwood put it only where his receiver was going to get it. He didn't throw it short. He didn't throw a jump ball. He put it. They were going for the corner, which is classic.
And Goodwin should have made.
Even when I'm sitting here watching by myself, I was like, "Oh, that's like classic John Navarre. That's classic Chad Henne type throw." And those guys, they played 4 years, so they have most of the stats. But that was Michigan football. Everyone says all the running and everything, but that corner toss was Michigan football. And he put it where only his receiver could get it. He didn't score. He didn't catch it. Maybe he should have. He did touch the ball. And I'm sure he'll learn from that too. But average might be a bit of an understatement, but I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's inappropriate to say. I think it's very.
No, he wasn't nothing where the Central Michigan game where you were like, oh my God,
this guy's Denard Robinson's September Heisman winner, right?
Yeah, like he did enough. Now you get 2 weeks off. Well, sorry, you get 2 weeks before you play again. That gives you time now. Open up the offense a little bit more. I would like to see what he does when I give him the freedom to be a little bit more unscripted. But I think that's going to come in time where they're just going to let him decide what's going to happen.
And let's not forget, our head coach was not on the sidelines.
Yes.
We have to remember that too. Like, Sharon Moore was somewhere else. He wasn't even in the building, right? So we got away with one by 3. We can take a lot of positives from it. We can look at the negative plays. We can look at the mistakes. And now he's got 2 weeks to watch film. And everyone, especially Haynes and Marshall and everyone else who may have had a tough game, to heal. And our next opponent just got destroyed yesterday.
Yeah, they didn't look good at all.
They didn't look good at all against Maryland. Wisconsin did not look good. It was bad. It was a bad game.
And when you have the fire Fickle chance.
Hey, anytime you can fire a former Buckeye, I'll take.
I was gonna say you just hate to see it. I never want anybody to get fired, but you just hate to see it.
Yeah, there he is. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I don't want to hate.
The one
you don't want to hate it always sucks to watch someone get fired or whatever. But let's remember these guys aren't going broke if they get fired.
Now let's get into the one glaring problem.
Okay.
Wide receiver.
Ooh, I was gonna go somewhere else, but we can talk about that.
Where were you gonna go?
I was gonna go secondary. Secondary was my biggest worry. But as you said to me over text, I was like, our secondary is terrible. Like, I have no faith. I'm not saying that the players are terrible, but like the scheme they had against Nebraska was not the best. I felt like they weren't adjusting to the game as it was happening, which could be coaching too. But like you said to me, and it kind of put me in my place too, was like, they are young. They are young. And as long as we can keep them out of the transfer portal, or if maybe we can bring someone else in the next year or two, I think we're sitting pretty in the secondary. But in that moment, in that game, the glaring problem with the all around our special teams too. Oh my goodness. I was not impressed with that either. But you go with your point first. You go, because
I just think the wide receivers. It's the same problem we had last year.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan disappeared again at points in that game where you didn't know where he was.
Yep.
Same thing with McCauley. Goodwin had
chances.
not one but two drop passes.
Yep.
And it just seems like they don't put themselves, or they don't give the quarterback a chance to make those big plays because they're either dropping it or they just can't get open.
It's also true. It did seem struggling, but hopefully these next 2 weeks we have that time for them to watch the film, for them to get coached. Sharon will be back. I know he's not the wide receiver coach, but he was a former offensive line coach, former offensive line player. He's an offensive coordinator, so he's not the offensive coordinator, but he's a former one. Once he can get back into the mix, once he can get back with the players, and as of
12:01.
8 hours and 43 minutes ago, he could have been with the team. I'm hoping he wasn't. I'm hoping he was letting his boys rest, or because they had to travel back to Ann Arbor, more than likely, right after the game. They wanted to get out of there.
After the game, Pogge said he left a note on his desk for him. So I'm guessing at exactly 12:01.
He was like sitting there with his watch, like waiting.
He was inside Schembechler, already getting down to business.
Good. Well, that's good. I hope that report is true, and I hope it's not just like fluff for us to talk about in these podcasts or whatever. But I doubt it. I doubt it. There's been no evidence to show anything like that. But the receivers weren't the best. But I think at the same time, what shows a good team, what shows exactly what Alex is saying right here. The run game was so good. The three-headed monster of Marshall, Haynes, and Underwood was so good that it picked up that part of the team. And, I know in sports, right? Like anytime I played and I made a mistake and then you see your teammate pick you up, the run game picked up the team. The offensive line never dropped any. They were on point. And I think this whole victory, this whole win comes down to how well our offensive line played. We can talk defensive line too, but I think that's kind of how poorly Nebraska's offensive line played, or maybe it was just a talent issue. But our offensive line was there. Underwood was under some pressure sometimes, and he was forced to make plays. And like I said 2-3 weeks ago, that's all learning for him. He's a true freshman. I think we're on the right track, and the offensive line gave me a lot of confidence in our offense. And like you said, to my scrutiny of the secondary, they are young, and in 2 weeks, these young men can be coached up, and we can do better. And we're going to go into we're going to play a team that's not as good as Nebraska, in my opinion. But
and at home. Now, the guy that's I'm sure is gonna get an earful once they get back to Ann Arbor today. One, Mr. Hellman.
Right here. First half down. If we lose this game, it's because of number 6, Hillman. That taunting penalty, I saw them doing it earlier in the game too, like doing this, like as they got her, because that's like the reception, right? Like that's the reception call. A ref will say, like, if someone comes down with a tough call. And I saw the secondary doing that a lot when they would, when Nebraska wouldn't make the catch. Like on the sideline, there was a few, like 2 or 3 Michigan players doing that. Then when that flag comes in, what was that? A 3rd and 13,
18,
3rd and 19. Yeah. And then they show that sideline view. It looked like it was somebody's cell phone, kind of, but like he's sitting there doing this to the entire.
Was Connor Stallings there? Did they have the Connor Stallings camera out? Is that the new sideline cam for?
I don't know, but
NBC.
It didn't matter the quality of the camera. It captured what it needed to capture, and I'm all about learning, right? I'm all about the players need to learn, and they are a young secondary, but that was one of the most unnecessary, brutal. I was watching the Clemson-Syracuse game earlier in the day, and there was a point where one of their secondary players the guy's going out of bounds. He's already has a foot out of bounds, and a Clemson guy just comes over and shoves him out of bounds. Flags go everywhere. The sidelines go nuts. And he stands back up and he starts walking out to the field. And Dabo Sweeney comes all the way out, like 10 yards into the field. You can see him just going bonkers on him, and he pulls him off. It's kind of like when Ryan Day did that too, right? Like, get that guy out of here. You know, and it was they let him stay in, and I feel like the camera was focused on him quite a bit, especially at the end of the game. And I think it should have been, because those were some mistakes by a young man that really need to be addressed. And we
just
can't
play
have
the game.
that.
You can't play that. Just play the game. You're up 10 at that point. That leads to, I think it led to the touchdown, if I remember right.
It allowed them to get to first down, half was the stupidest penalty I've ever seen, number 6 Hillman, and then halftime was 17-17. Yeah, so that led to the Hail Mary, and it's like, come on, man.
And the best part is he wasn't even part of the play.
No, it was straight up one of the most immature, blatant, taunting penalties. He wasn't even taunting the player that was involved in the play. He was taunting the whole sideline.
No,
the whole sideline. How many people are like, hey, you know, to the refs, and then the refs see that the ref was already on it. Like, come on.
Yeah, somebody had to have said something, because he wasn't even close to the play. And they knew right away. That flag came out the minute he turned around.
We got side judges. That's what there's refs all the way up.
You can't do that.
No, absolutely not. And I get it. Young man in the moment. And I did see them doing it earlier. And I was like, ooh, I don't really like that. Like, but as long as it's not called, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like one of those fine lines, like kind of like targeting. We've seen that already this year. But it's just, it was uncalled for. It was unnecessary. It led to a touchdown before half, which will be like on Sports Center for like the rest of the college football year.
Yeah,
and it was all because of one kid.
Where was the timeout? Why didn't Michigan call a timeout?
Well, I mean, we talked about this before we went on the air here. There was a little bit of clock management issues, because they could have called timeout and they could have forced a punt. But they just didn't do it. And maybe that's, you know, I think Biff did a really good job, but maybe just lack of experience consistently. Like, I know he's been around forever. He's like this hedge fund guy who knows how to invest his money, and he does football for fun, you know, but like it was just his inexperience in the moment, I believe. Like, no one telling him either. Like, hey, you saw that kid following him around because he didn't want to wear the thing on his belt. It looked like it was like back in the day when they always had the guy before the Motorola headsets where they were wireless. There was a kid following him around holding his headset. Why didn't the kid just go, hey? I know he's not his job and he would never do that. But the timeout was just a mistake, and we got away with it. Our head coach wasn't on the sideline.
The problem is, I don't know if the head coach would have made that call too, but we're never going to know.
We have seen some, I feel like deer in the headlight moments from Sharon this year.
It just seems like the timeouts and the clock management seem to be a recurring problem.
Yeah.
So far under Sharon Moore, but
which hopefully can be addressed, and that we have a bye week next week. Hopefully it can be addressed, and we can move along.
It's only year 2, so hopefully he learns. Where Michigan did do a good job, though, is held Nebraska to 2-12 on third down.
Yeah. Yep.
Where Michigan didn't do a good job in, they only went 4 for 12 on third down.
Yep. I mean, got to play the game to see what happens, you know? Like, we can analyze every single stat, but you know, it's football, man. Like, we got away with the win, and our stat was a bit better. I don't know if the percentage would be better, actually, now that I think about it. But they got some huge stops. There was big. I wanted to point this out too. Klein, the tight end, not very impactful as a receiver. But if you watched all the replays, they used him. I don't know if you ever watched the Tom Brady Tampa Bay over KC game in breakdown, where they use Gronk more as a blocker. And I'm not comparing Klein to Gronkowski, so everyone just chill a little bit. But they used him in blocking schemes the entire game. I felt like every time there was a huge run, Klein was doing something important. Every time there was a short pass that got us a first down, on probably second down, because we know on third they weren't the best, Klein was doing something important blocking. And having that type of unselfish, hey, I'm here to be the new Colston Loveland. You're going to throw it to me. Hey, the guy did his job. He did exactly what he was told, exactly what he was coached, I'm assuming. And if he didn't, he's even better than I think he is, because we know he can catch, we know he can run, and now we know he's an unselfish blocking tight end. Blocking comes in the tight end realm of the player, but it was, in my opinion, it was very impressive that he was in on almost every running play or every important passing play as a blocker. That makes me feel good whenever number 17's on the field.
Yeah, he definitely he's definitely coming into his own. And I know Hogan was out again this past week, so
I think the one thing we haven't talked about yet, as we round out this early Sunday morning post-game podcast, was the 8-minute drive. The 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
What a beauty of a clock killing. We were just talking about how clock management was bad. This was one of the most beautiful 8 minutes of football. I remember when we were probably in 5 minutes. I'm like, holy crap, they're just killing the clock here. We're just killing it. And we're moving down the field. They're getting everything they kind of needed to. I was a little upset with, they needed 1 yard to get a first down on the 3, and Underwood ran it instead of Hayes, who was on the field. Why not just give it to your power and try and not just get the touchdown, just get the first down, because then the game is iced. Then the field goal, they got the points, but you get that first down with the guy who's proven. It wasn't as bad as not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch, but it was 30-20 when it could have been 34-20, and that's a big difference.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple times they had the ability to go up more than they were. And I think that could have made it that corner end zone route. If he catches that, and I think it would have put him up at the time, they would have been up 17-0.
Yep.
That game's completely different.
Oh, for sure. But then we still might have management issues. We could have got to see Underwood a little more, do some stuff, but
I think there was a couple things that I didn't like in this game, but a win's a win.
Yeah.
The one thing I really like, Zavada's back.
Yeah. He missed an early field goal, a couple early field goals. He was solid.
46, 56, and 21.
Yeah.
And the 56er was a no-doubter.
Yeah.
He's back.
Do you remember Hayden Epstein? He was the kicker in the late 90s for Michigan. And back then, college kick 27 yards is ugh. I don't know if we're going to get
anything over 30, you might have went for it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then when Michigan got Hayden Epstein, I remember being 16 years old or whatever at the time. And he was one of the first college kickers I remember kicking it with the old kickoff rules, obviously. He was kicking it to the uprights on kickoffs, and people would just go bonkers. So we've had 2 kickers in a row. We've had Jake Moody and we've had Zavada so far that have been amazing. And having a solid kicker, we can make fun of place kickers till the cows come home, but having a solid one in college football makes you a higher caliber of team. It truly does.
Well, look at it this way: 44 and missed, 44 yards, and he missed it for Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's a tie game, right?
Yeah, those are the 2 4-and-outs I was talking about earlier. That was one of the two. So, like, that's what made me feel like Michigan had this game in hand, and then the Hail Mary happened. But one other point about Hillman. Okay, so late in the fourth, he made a hit, and they discussed it for targeting, right? But they showed that his head was off to the side, and it wasn't a targeting. And he got to stay in the game. Remember, the camera's on him, and he's just sitting there waiting. He already has the unsportsmanlike, and now he's getting judged for or looked at for targeting. And the very next play, Nebraska scored, and they threw at Hillman, and it looked like he was a little scared to make the tackle the way he wanted to. And I don't know if that's his fault. I mean, we're being rough on him. But, like, that's where, like, in the moment, these young men need to make these, like, split-second decisions, and I'm sure they're coached up on it. But if you go back and you watch the end of that game, Hillman's up for a targeting, which means we would have lost him. You know, it seems like a month away, but we would have lost him for the first half of the Wisconsin game after the bye. But then they did make the right call, and I hope I'm not just being a homer by saying that, but it didn't look like – he didn't use the crown, which is very but it looked like he was very, very nervous to make, unless he slipped and they just didn't show the replay, because I didn't see them really say anything about it on the broadcast, but he looked very nervous to make the next play, and I believe Nebraska scored a touchdown on that next play. And that's kind of like where the target – I know we're all trying to save everyone's heads, right? We don't want anyone to get – CTE. We don't want anyone to have, like, you know, lifelong injuries after playing football, although it is, you know, something that's going to happen more than likely. Well, he did look like a nervous, like, freshman out there on the next play. But as long as he can learn from that, and he's got film to watch, and he's got a lot of film to watch, and I think he's got a lot of sit downs to have with some coaches. But hopefully they go over that with him, because I feel like he was not victimized, but we're making him the bad guy here. But he did the right thing by not doing it again, because he knew the refs' eyes were on him. But, you know, I still have here, if Michigan loses, Hillman lost us the game.
I think this game is – you can see the talent Michigan has. Yep. But you can also see the youth involved with Michigan.
Yeah, which is good.
It comes down to a lot of mental mistakes and just execution. If they can continue to get better and they can get by some of these teams, like I watched the USC game last night. They look very, very, very – they're going to be a challenge, especially heading to the Coliseum. Yep. Michigan State, that's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. We've seen teams that you could be favored by 50 and you're going to lose that game.
We all remember this guy.
Yeah. So let's, as long as they continue to get better and they can start executing a little bit better and a little bit less mental mistakes, I think we're going to be good. But it's the same thing. It's a very young team, and it's about development. Just got to keep developing. Keep getting better day by day. And as long as they do that, they should be okay, because there's a lot of talent on this team. It's just a matter of them using it and putting it all together. And we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you're right. And I think there's many reasons for that, obviously, between seeing what Bryce was in the first two games, Sharon not being around for the next two games. Now that sequence, that part of the season, the first third of the season is over now, and we've got a conference win. We're 3-1. We lost the game we were expected to lose, and it wasn't a blowout. There was a lot of mistakes. No one looked overly good, but it wasn't a blowout. And now we can move on from everything of the drama of the preseason. Right now it's time to, like, we know what Bryce can throw. We know that Bryce can run. Like you said, our receivers need to get better. Klein looks like he can catch and block, and I don't think we have anything to worry about except no injuries from our running game. Secondary needs to grow a little bit more, but they have now everyone has 2 weeks to heal up too. So I think that's very important, and everything looks good for me. I'll take it as the season is right now.
It's hard for Underwood to finish the game 3 for 9. That's you got to be a little bit better than that, but that's not all on him. That's a lot on the receivers too.
And I think the new thing I'm going to say consistently, I don't know if you saw the post-game interview with Underwood. I'm never going to say dot my I's and cross my T's anymore. I'm always going to say I'm going to cross my I's and dot my T's. I'm going to say it every single time. It made me, I might have been a little giddy because we just pulled off the win, right? Like victory formation was at 124, I believe. Yeah, Bell saved the day. Kendrick Bell with the
that was perfect too. High pointed it. Went up, got it at the highest point, came down
on the onside kick.
Right to the ground.
Waving after the Hillman penalty might not have been the most intelligent thing to do at that point in the game. Because they knew, I felt like when he was waving, I was like, oh no, please don't be doing that to the sideline. You can do it to the crowd. If you're waving towards your sideline at the crowd behind you, different story. I was just like, just don't throw a flag right now. I was like, oh my God, but they didn't. And then at 124, the victory formation came out and I was, happier than pork and poop. It was the best. We got away with it, but cross your I's and dot your T's. That's my new favorite saying.
Definitely. The good news is that this week coming up for our show Tuesday, we don't have to break down the Wisconsin game, and we can talk a little bit about things Michigan needs to improve on and call it Big Ten in general, because I don't know if you stayed up for the Michigan State USC game. I stayed up and watched that, and that was a really good game to watch.
I did not. Now that you say that, I don't even know the winner. So keep me in the bubble. I know the winner. I'm just joking, but I really want to see.
I stayed up and I watched the Indiana-Illinois game.
I saw the score of that.
Oh,
watching Brent Bielema not be happy is one of my favorite things in college football.
Kirk Snetti was pretty right. They don't beat top 25 teams. They kicked their ass because they kicked it. They kicked it. They
were favored by 4.5 points, and what they win by?
Oh, I don't even remember the score. The final
64-10 or something like that. But I don't have those stats right in front of me. But I know it was a blowout. I know some people made some money on that if they made the right choice.
But I think 4 weeks in, I think it's fair to say that preseason rankings really mean nothing.
Yep.
And they probably need to stop.
I can't stop that. That's fun. That's the fun.
I know, but it gives you a false perspective of what teams are good and what teams are not. And it's hard to judge some of these teams because, let's be honest, Clemson's terrible.
I watched that whole game. Because it was the noon game, and Clemson looked terrible. And anytime a team that used to be good isn't, makes me feel good about myself.
Especially if you're Dabble, you come out with that rant, and then you lay an egg like that. Mm-hmm. That can't happen. If you're gonna rant the week before and bring up your age, and that you can go somewhere else and win, and then go play Syracuse, not the same Syracuse team as last year, and lose like that, it's time for Dabble just to be quiet a little bit.
Well, that's his whole thing. He's not going to be quiet. That'd be like saying Bill Belichick needs to talk more. Like
Dabble needs to put his top lip to get together with his bottom lip.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that happens. No. But it's always fun to watch. It's always fun to watch an underdog win, especially when you have no I got no skin in the game. Fun to watch. I was rooting for Syracuse the whole time because, Kyle McCord's not their quarterback anymore. So it was very hard last year to root for Syracuse for me. But it's always a fun game to watch the underdog win.
No, yeah. And Miami might be the real deal. Florida, well, they're done.
Yeah.
And
think
then
that was expected.
Arkansas had a loss too from the SEC. It's always good to watch the SEC lose. But we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
We almost had a special guest walk in here.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about come Tuesday.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think on that note, after keeping people's time for 55 minutes, it's time to.
Hey, if you stuck around with us, we appreciate it.
It's time to end it how we should end it, on a victory Sunday, and go Lions on Monday night.
Absolutely. It's going to be a tough one.
We'll see you guys Tuesday at 9 o'clock as usual. Till then, go Blue.
Go Blue.
And always remember. 4-0, baby, 4-0.
Let's hope the Ravens don't play as good as the Terrapins. Okay, we don't want any Maryland side by sides. All right, go Blue. We'll see you on Tuesday.